Kerry's role in the rising, if everything had went according to plan, would have been significant, extremely significant. You had the attempt by the four comrades in Ballycassan, two or three of them lost life in Ballycassan Pier, on their way to Valencia, and part of the operation was to jam all the communication network between the British warships and in the area and further afield. The landing of Roger Casement Monteith in Banna Beach, and also the plan to make contact with Austin Stack, the volunteers ready to be mobilised to bring the odd into Phoenix, take the train from Tralee out, unload the weapons and take the train up the country to distribute them in strategic places would have meant a national insurrection as distinct from just an insurrection in Dublin. But the Kerry's role was significant in it, and it was pivotal to this being successful or not. Well, what I know about D. O'Rahilly, as he's referred to, I've done several commemorations in Ballylongford, but what I know about D. O'Rahilly is that he was from what would be described at that time as the professional class in Irish society. He was obviously a very, very patriotic person, totally committed to Irish freedom, and he joined the Rising, and he made a supreme sacrifice in Moore Street, leading a breakout from the GPO at that point in time. A tremendous person. What I've read about him, he had great leadership skills, and I think he showed that in the sacrifice he made, trying to succeed with a breakout from the GPO that would have been enabled other volunteers to escape. Roger Casement was a fantastic human person. Part of his life he spent in Africa and South America as part of Her Majesty's forces, as they like to call them at that point in time. He led a revolt against the way local people were treated. He fought for the persecuted in both South America and both in Africa, and brought it to the attention of his government, the British government at that point in time, and he played a big role as well in getting some issues addressed regarding the cruelty that was being inflicted by Crown forces on natives in both South Africa and in South America. His involvement with the volunteers and his attempted landing of the Odd in Phoenix was part of the overall plan, and it was central to the overall plan. He showed tremendous courage, both prior to his arrest and after his arrest and his subsequent execution. It was an attempt to demonise him by the so-called diaries in order to justify his execution, because certainly an awful lot of people in England, and particularly around the establishment in England, would have held him in high regard, particularly for his work in regard to the persecuted people in Africa and in South America. When he came off the submarine and they rowed ashore with Monteith and another person as well, there was three of them on it, when they rowed ashore, according to Monteith it was flat calm coming in, but when they came near the shore, obviously the swell, and the boat that they came in was overturned, and they well admitted to shore easy enough because the water would be shallow enough there, about 6 or 7 feet of water, and was able to make it ashore from that. Then he obviously had some type of fever for many days beforehand, and they made their way across the sand dunes and on into Currahon and up into Casement Fort. And I'm led to believe it was in the early hours of the morning when they got there. Obviously they were all wet and so forth, and he was very weak at that time, and both Monteith and the other person that was with him, they left him in Casement Fort. They go to Tralee to seek out Austin Stack and try and get help for Casement. somebody spotted him and unintentionally notified it, without any malice, notified the authorities. There was 3 people in the area, but and obviously the boat that they came ashore was found. So a search started, and he was arrested in Casement Fort, and he was taken to, first of all, to Arfert, and he was held in the RIC barracks in Arfert, and then he was taken to Tralee, and from Tralee obviously to Dublin and to England, where he was tried. The Monteith who was with him, Monteith had come to Tralee to make contact with Austin Stacks and tried to put in place an operation of rescue. And anyway, I understand that both Stack and Monteith left Tralee in a pony and trap to go to Arfert, and they believed that they were followed, so they headed off in a different direction. By that time, shortly after that or before that, Casement had been arrested, and he was in the barracks in Tralee. And Stack went to the barracks in Tralee to make contact that time, try and make contact or try to ascertain the facts, and he was arrested then as well. So the secrecy of the operation meant that nobody knew, certainly in the volunteers, or nobody in the wider section of the national movement knew of the operation, except for Austin Stack and obviously Casement, Monteith, and so forth. And anyway, Monteith evaded capture. Casement was hanged. I think it was August he was hung. And obviously he was a tremendous patriot, highly respected and revered to this day, not just for his work in Ireland, but his international work as well as a humanitarian individual. Conkeaton from Renard, just outside Carsaveen down the Pointer, was again a person who was involved at some stage, to my knowledge, with the IRB. And he was also he was pivoted into the operation because of his knowledge of South Kerry, his knowledge of Village Island and the radio stations and so forth. So he was central to that part of the operation. Charlie Monaghan was from the Shortstrand in Belfast, from a very small nationalist enclave in East Belfast. And the other person that died, Sheehan, was from Templeglanton. And there was another person in the car. The 4 of them were on their way to Carsaveen and obviously put out to Renard and out to Valencia to jam the whole radio network and that the Brits had at that point and at that time in our history.
My name is Junior Murphy. I'm a native of Carsaveen, born and bred here, and spent a number of years teaching here as well. Referring to Con Keating, was born, the first man to die in the 1916 Rising was Con Keating, and he was born in Renard, very close to the town of Carsaveen. He went to the local national school, Cameco National School, and to do Christian Brothers in Carsaveen. He then went to radio school, which was based in the town here, and qualified as a wireless operator before moving to Dublin and on ship for a number of years. Now, while in school here, he was renowned as a very, very good footballer and had a big reputation here in the locality. Now, on the ship, on his journey on the ship, he didn't like he got sick a lot and came back and went to work in London. He got in contact there with the IRB and became friendly with Michael Collins and so forth, and got involved, came back to Dublin, and he was used by the IRB to come to Carsaveen in Good Friday in 1916 to get equipment from the radio school here to use to help bring the odd into Ireland. Now, he left Dublin with an odd number of people, one in particular, a Carsaveen man here, Dennis Daly, and when they got to Killarney, they were picked up by two cars which came from Limerick, and they motored on to Carsveen. Now the cars were supposed to stay in close proximity, but unfortunately one of them took a wrong turn in Killorglin and continued on the road straight ahead and went off the pier at Ballycassan, and that is where Con Keating was drowned. Now he was one of the first people to drown in the rising of 1916. The other car continued at Carsveen, but they didn't have the know-how or the knowledge to get the equipment in the radio station here, so they gave up their attempt and went back to Dublin again without achieving what they came to do. Now unfortunately, Con Keating was drowned, and this was their big loss. Now Con Keating is remembered here in South Kerry, and the Carsveen Football Club here, the Carsveen football pitch, is called after him, the Con Keating Park, and his name is synonymous with the 1916 Rising, and the area here is very proud of Con Keating.
Well, when each year when Sinn Féin celebrates and commemorates the Rising in 1916, pivotal to our celebration of that is the content of the proclamation and the 7 signatories which were executed immediately after the Rising. The content of that proclamation is as relevant today as it was then. Probably even more relevant, because we do have control of our sovereignty in the 26 counties, whereas in that time you didn't have any sovereignty as such. And the disgraceful way that the proclamation has been treated by successive governments from 1922 certainly devalues the tremendous sacrifices made, as well as the tremendous intellectual, social conscience that was part of that proclamation. It's not just about the actual Rising, it's about what the Rising was about, and it was about the proclamation, cherishing all the children of the nation equally. The right of our natural resources to be used exclusively for the common good. It has everything in the proclamation. It was so relevant then, and is equally as relevant today. And we as a people throughout this island have yet to deliver upon the contents of that proclamation. And that has to be the objective of Irish Republicans every day of our life, to try and bring about the implementation of the contents of that proclamation. It's only then can we really celebrate the legacy that we have been given, or that we have taken upon ourselves from 1916, and the inspiration and the leadership given by the 1916 leaders, and the vision and the aspiration and the vision that they have had then as we have now. And that has to be our objective every day of our life until we realise it, because to do otherwise would be to fail and dishonour the tremendous sacrifice those people made, as well as to undermine the content and the abilities of that proclamation to deliver real freedom for our people, irrespective of where they are on this island. The men and women of 1916 are as revered today as they were in their time, immediately after their time. And they have left us, they have inspired us to try and realise their legacy, and that's what we have to do. And that's what I'm committed to, and that's what the party that I'm involved is committed to. And we don't claim to be the sole owners of Irish Republicans, and we don't claim that. We are part of that, but there are other people out there that are part of it too. But certainly we will be commemorating next year, as we do every year, and try to give the recognition and the tributes to those great people.